units and dimensions. Now different dimensions, that is different for measuring the different dimensions like the length and area, we have the different units. Before that we must understand what is a quantity. Quantity is like amount of any substance. So we have the physical quantities that can be measured. The quantities that can be measured are considered physical quantities like the length, the area, the volume, speed, force, energy. All these are quantities that can be measured. Now we know how to do the measurements. Like what do? We always have a known fixed quantity with us and we compare the unknown quantity with the known fixed quantity. That known fixed quantity is known as a unit. So we have specific units for each and every quantity. In earlier days we used to have the units as foot, finger, one muthi, that is your fist, or cubit. Cubit is the distance between your elbow and your fingers. So that used to be the measuring unit in earlier days. How to measure the area of irregular objects? Like what you observe here is a cardboard piece. You just put this cardboard piece on a graph paper like this and draw its outline on the graph paper. Then you just count the number of squares that are present inside this shape, inside this boundary of the shape, and you would get to know the area. Now how to find out or how to measure the volume of liquids? That is very simply done with the help of a measuring jar. Generally we observe a liter measure that is being used by the milkman that comes to our homes. Yes, this can be used to measure kerosene, petrol, milk, even water at times. Now you can see a purette that is being used, that is specifically to take some amount of liquid during the experiments. Volume of any object is the space occupied by that object. So we can observe that there is a liquid in this glass currently which is at level O, but when you insert another stone into it, the level has risen. So the volume of the stone is amount of water that has risen up in the container. We shall discuss the mass now. Mass is the basic property of matter, right? And we can always measure mass in kilograms as it is the SI unit for mass. So mass does not depend on temperature, pressure or location. Whether it is some different location or temperature, the mass of the object remains the same. We can observe different measuring instruments for the masses, but before that we must understand the range of masses. Now range means what is the minimum amount of mass that we can measure and what is the maximum amount of mass that we can measure. So over here you can notice the minimum mass of the object will be for an electron because that is the smallest possible quantity, and the maximum would be the objects that are available in the universe, right? So we can have the different range of masses from 10 raised to power minus 30 to 10 raised to power 55 kgs. Now we shall discuss how to measure the time. Generally we measure the time with the help of the time interval. So how much distance is travelled in equal time intervals. The SI unit for time would be, we all know, seconds. Now how to measure mass? We have the different measuring instruments, the common balance, the table balance, spring balance and the physical balance available with us. We can observe the common balance generally with the vegetable sellers. These days what they do is they put the weight in one side of the common balance and they put the quantity to be measured in the other side like this, and when it becomes equal they give you the measured quantity. Similarly, on the same principle we have a table balance, putting the weight on the one side and quantity on the other side. When it shows a 0, that means the objects has been balanced and they give it to you. What you see now is a physical balance again. This physical balance is again used to measure the object's mass. This is very simple and a little different than the other balances that we have studied. Here we have the balancing screws attached to this brass handle, and we have the pan knife edges on the both sides that have the stirrups along with them. So that was the physical balance. Now how to measure the temperature? The temperature is actually the hotness or coldness of any object. How hot or cold is any object, we come to know with the temperature. Temperature can be measured in degree Celsius, degree Fahrenheit and kelvins. Kelvins is the SI unit for temperature.